Come on, music. Hello, everybody. I don't think the music's coming in now, but
Do you want me to
welcome.
sing?
No. I'd rather let me hit pause. Let me see if the music comes. Let me see.
Ooh,
I got some angelic
very nice, very nice.
music. Yeah, my thing got confused. Let's try it now. Everybody. Oh, there we go. At last. Oh, sorry. Welcome to the Digital Forensics Now podcast. Thankfully, Heather's singing free. And free as in not singing. Today is Thursday, July 11th, 2024. My name is Alexis Brignoni, aka Briggs, and I'm accompanied by my co-host, the Hash Wrangler, the Don't Leave Any Stone Unturned perspective, the This is important to your case, and let me tell you why, examiner, the one and only Heather Charpentier. The music is Higher Up by Shane Ivers, eventually it was, and can be found at silvermansound.com. Heather, we survived the roughest intro in these 21 episodes.
It would have been a lot rougher if I started singing.
Yeah, beauty's in the ear of the beholder, but yeah, let's not test that theory. How are you?
I
What's going
am
on?
good. How are you?
Good. It's been good. I'm happy to be back. We had a little bit of a hiatus.
We did. We did.
A pause, if I said it right. Yeah, we were work and other things, and so we had to lay low for a little bit.
Yep. We're not up on my main screen. Are we up on your main screen?
We're not. I think we should, so people can actually see us.
We should. It's a pretty background, but I think our pretty faces should show.
Yeah, I mean, if you are in listening to the podcast,
There we go.
You don't really care.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Hello, everybody. We're here. So yeah. So no, I was at my mom's down by the beautiful Gulf Coast of Florida. So that was
Very
nice.
nice.
Took the children there to see grandma, and we had
Very nice.
a great nice 4th of July celebration and weekend fireworks and everything. How about
Very
you?
good. Very good. I kind of did the same type of thing. I went and visited my family, and then I don't know, we've been off from the show for a few weeks, so I did start watching the Python study group stuff again. I swear I'm going to. I know you're happy about that.
No. I am extremely happy, and that's why when I'm happy, you know what happens, right?
Oh, the fireworks. Why,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you for actually following up on your Python for digital forensic studies. That's good.
Yeah, so I've run into a few issues for everybody to know with the Python, and of course, Alex asks me, "Well, have you watched the videos from the study group yet?" And I haven't watched them all, so I guess if I'm going to ask for help, I need to make sure I'm trying to figure it out on my own first.
Well, we'll be talking about a little bit about conscious incompetence and conscious competence. So I think it'll be an interesting discussion there.
What are you trying to say?
Nothing. I'm saying nothing. I'm gonna blame Brett, the author of the article.
Yeah, definitely. So speaking of that,
yeah. You want to start there?
Yeah.
Oh, before we start, hey, look behind me. What do we have?
Oh my God! So for those of you listening, Alex is trying to show me up with the wall signs, the light up wall signs. He had one, so I got one. I'm like, oh, we match now. And now, how many do you have? 7 of them there?
Yeah, because if one is good, then 6 more.
You're completely surrounded by neon wall signs. So
no, and I'm gonna get one. Somebody suggested in LinkedIn to get one that says "it depends" because that's our our phrase, right?
Yeah, so you do need. It depends.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it. I kid you not. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna figure out how to reorganize.
I was gonna say, where are you going to put it?
I'm gonna put it right here in front of my face.
Okay.
Upgrade. No, but I know you have one you haven't put up yet. So
I do have another one. I'm debating though if it's gonna replace the Live Nerd sign or if I'm gonna have both. We'll see. I don't want to be all off balance.
No, put it on the other side. So
all right.
Anyways,
I have to get it hung up.
For folks that are listening, you need to go to YouTube and then see.
Check out our signs.
Yeah, I have the one I like a lot is the one on top of my head says cool kids club, and underneath it says all are welcome, which is kind of like the vibe here in this podcast, right?
Yeah.
We can all belong. We all belong, right?
Everybody's a cool kid.
Exactly. I got a koi fish, and people didn't know. I have a tattoo of a koi fish in my arm.
Yep.
So now I'm showing off a little bit here, my art.
Very nice. Matching on the wall.
Yeah. The beautiful mountains of Denver, a place that I really appreciate.
Very nice.
And people close to my heart. And yeah, so anyways, going back to the topic, we're talking about the things that we know and things that we don't know. So we have a new article. What's going on with that?
Well, first, quick, Kevin wants to know how many power strips you're using.
Look, it's one, right? And then you're about to get a visit from the fire department.
Very good.
It could be a fire hazard, so I'm closer to the fire hazard range of fire strip of fire strip. Look at that of power strips. So.
All right, the article. So Brett Shavers has a new article out that let me put the link to that up. And the title is DFIR Competence. Are you truly skilled or just fooling yourself? And I have a little screenshot from his article to share, but everybody should go over there and check it out because it's really good. There we go. So in the article, I'll give just a brief overview. He talks about the various stages of incompetence and competence, conscious incompetence and unconscious incompetence. And the question, I guess, kind of posed from the article is, do you know your competence level? And it goes on to say DFIR examiners' skills can degrade over time. So there's some examples of the unconscious and conscious incompetence and competence here, which is really hard to say a lot in the screenshot.
Sounds like a little tongue twister.
It is a little bit.
but the matrix is really good because his example really drives it home, right? He says, well, there's a person that I love the name of the examiner, Alex, right? Kind of close to mine, right? Mm-hmm. This examiner never heard about a tool, right? So he's not aware of this tool and he's incompetent on it because he doesn't even know about it, right? But then he's aware of it, right? So he's conscious about it, but then he doesn't know how to use it. So he's still incompetent about it. But then you're conscious and then you're competent because you know how to use it, but you have to go, carefully. What step goes next? What second step, third step, right? Brett says he was gonna use Brett in the example. Alex is fine. I like it. and then you have, unconscious competence. And when we do things, we know how to use a tool effortlessly. And that's from my perspective. We fall a lot into that. We get really comfortable with a set of procedures or tools to the point that we're unconscious about doing it. We're proficient at it. But Brett makes a great point of this being somewhere we could fail, right?
Right.
Because we're limiting ourselves, right? And when we do that, we don't open space for improvement because, I know how to do this. I just do it. And he gives an example in his article. It's like when you drive from work to home from work every day, you start driving, then like, I got to work. How did I get here? You're like, I just got here. Did you think about it? You think about many things, but you're not really thinking about the driving. It becomes kind of automatic and a rote in a sense, and you don't not subconsciously, you're awake, but you don't think about it, and you get to work or you get to work. Actually, it has happened that I'm so used to going, let's say, to work that it's a weekend and I need to go somewhere else, and I just drive to work, and I'm like, I'm halfway to work. This is not where I was supposed to be going, right? I was supposed to be going somewhere else. And that's the problem, right? If we get to that, all examiners get to that, and then we don't improve. We don't really think about how can, even in the processes that we know how to do effortlessly, how can we be better? Because we can always be better. I think he calls it not eternal. What's the word? I should have memorized. Oh, here it is. Infinite competence, right? That's right there on the screen, if I could read. Yeah. Infinite competence, where you're constantly trying to see where can I improve because I know these processes like the back of my hand. And I would take it even further, right? Well, not I. Actually, Brett did that for us. He uses the example, and everybody, please read this article. He uses the Penrose stairs as an example, and that's pretty cool because it's a like a visual trick. What's that word for that? Like illusion. There's a word for that. We had like visual illusions that. For example, these stairs are going up at all times, but also going down at the same time. I forgot what the word for that is. It's like a visual illusion.
Yeah, it's not coming to me. Sorry. I'm no help with this one.
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. Actually, I feel like
Optical illusion.
optical illusion.
Brett's
Thank you. I
saving
was
you. Brett's saving
yeah.
you.
There we go. So I like it. It's like an optical illusion where you kind of always going up and down, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to constantly be improving because you will always at some point be incompetent because new things will always be coming. So you gotta be constantly going up those never-ending stairs, right? And I really like these topics from Brett because they're a lot of philosophy, which I'm kind of, I'm partial to it. I love it, but it also makes me think about being better, and it gives you kind of a plan on how to do that. Reflection. He makes a great point about that. Is so important, and you have to catch yourself. You have to make an effort. If you're doing something and not making an effort on it, that's an indication that you need to think about what you're doing.
Yeah, I relate this a lot to training, even especially with myself. So I've been to so many trainings over the last 9.5 years. And I think a lot of people, myself included, I've been to that training already. I don't need that again. And I do, because you have to constantly be learning and not think that something you learned 8 years ago is still what's being taught in those training courses, if that makes sense.
Oh no, there's always new stuff,
Yeah.
and that's the infinite competence. You get to a level as an examiner when you can do certain things. And something, and this is that. I mean, I'm going a little bit of, not a tangent, but something that I'm seeing is, how can I say this? Like conscious incompetence, but not so much in the fact that you know what you don't know. I'm gonna change it a little bit. People are consciously wanting to be incompetent. In other words, I know how to do the one thing, and I don't need and I don't want to do or learn anything else. And I don't know how Brett would make that a stage or not. and I'm seeing that a little bit where folks are like, can you strive to be better? Can you strive to move? No, I just don't want to. I
Right.
just want to do this the one thing, and sometimes not even do it right. And
Yeah, I've seen examples of that recently too, where you're 100% right. It's I know how to do this one thing. That's all I'm doing. I'm not moving out of that realm. So
yeah, and in this field, that is a problem, and that is a
yeah.
problem actually because I'm gonna share something here on the screen real quick. Um, we have to think about not only us in two terms, right? Us being good examiners, having due diligence, something that we've both been discussing. Heather and myself discussing lately. What is due diligence? What is expected of us? What do the stakeholders, in our case, our victims, or expect from us? That's one thing. What's our due diligence? But also think about ourselves, and I mean, do we want to be employed in the future? and let's be real. I mean, we need those necessities, right? So let me actually, if I open the file, then I can share it, right?
While you're looking for that, Brett says new neon sign idea: be constantly learning.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a big, a long sign, but maybe I need more wall to fit some of those.
We'll have to put that one on my side. It's the only place it'll fit.
Actually, right on top of your head. I agree.
Yeah.
All right, so this is what I'm talking about here. So I had this meme, I think last week or this week, where you have a person kind of sitting in pews, like maybe in a church or something like that, and there's this person sitting there, and it's labeled the button pusher, and then behind that person is this person with a gun to the person's head, like about to shoot him, right? And I labeled those automation tools. But behind the automation tools is another person with another gun called AI, right? But then all the way in the mezzanine, up in the rafters, whatever, there's somebody with a sniper rifle pointing at them, right? And it's called, I label it actual digital forensics experts. And what I meant by that is, if you're in the state of conscious incompetence, and I kind of co-opted the term from Brett, but it's not how he defines it. It's just me redefining it for this particular point, where you consciously wanting to be incompetent, right? Being that button pusher, you will be pushed out by the automation tools. You'll be subservient to them if you still have a job, because at some point, I'm pretty sure technology can push the button for you. We won't need you. We don't need George Jetsons, right? Okay. And then AI will kind of take some of that. So if you want to still be relevant in this work moving forward, because technology advances in leaps and bounds, you're like, well, AI is coming, but it won't affect me. I'm retiring in the next 10 years. I should have plenty enough time to coast over to my retirement. AI will could possibly
It'll push you
retire
out.
you, yeah, way earlier than that. Right? So let me stop sharing this. So yeah, and again, I'm co-opting that term and kind of misusing it a little bit. But just because that Brett's article made me think about those things, and I think are important that we all should take some time to reflect on them.
Yeah, really great article, and I'll put the link to that in the show notes on the podcast website.
Hey, look, if Arsenal's saying +1 for the meme, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Arsenal, great company, great software. Always good to have them here and hear from them.
Yeah, definitely. So one thing we wanted to announce is Oxygen Forensics put out a call for speaker at the 2024 International User Summit coming up. It's going to take place October 15th through the 18th. I actually have a little screenshot to share here. And it's in Alexandria, Virginia.
Beautiful, Alexandria, Virginia.
There we go. You could submit a topic and share your knowledge. So if anybody listening has thought, oh, I really want to get in there and share some of the things that I've learned, some of the things that I've written about, some of the things I haven't shared yet. Go in there, apply, go speak at the user summit. It's a great place to get started. With whatever topic you have in mind, you can submit it right at their website.
Absolutely. And Oxygen, also a great company. Lee, a great guy, the CEO. I had the pleasure of presenting with him in some events. So it's always a good time with the Oxygen folks. So definitely consider that and submit for it.
Yeah, if you're not submitting, if you're attending, I'll tell you right now, I've listened to a couple of Lee's presentations, and he's really, really good at presenting.
Yep.
Excellent topics and just a captivating speaker.
Absolutely.
All right, let me move that. All right. So next up, we have talked about a tool on past episodes called UFADE. It is created by Christian Peter, and he's out of Germany. And we've talked about it a few times and its capabilities, but there's some major updates to it. There's a whole new user interface, and there's a chat capture feature that I want to show everybody live. So hopefully it doesn't screw up on me while I'm trying to show it live.
And before you show it live, just tell the folks, maybe they missed those episodes. What's UFADE about it? What does it do?
All kinds of capabilities. I'm going to go through the different capabilities inside of it, but all kinds of capabilities with iOS devices. So you can pull the sysdiagnose logs. You can do logical extractions, iTunes backups. There's all kinds of other logs from the device that you can pull. And now with the newest feature, there's the chat capture.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And as Heather is prepping up her demo, which I always love when Heather does the demos.
Until I can't share the screen.
Yeah, right. This tool that Christian, I think Christian's in the house right now, is in the chat. It's free to use. So it's amazing how those capabilities that you see in other tools that cost a lot. You see this over here in a community tool. It's absolutely free. So it's amazing.
Yeah, so I really liked it when we showed it before, but this is just a lot of improvements. I really love it now. So, I mean, I loved it before, but let me share my window here. Oh, yeah, the watchOS devices. I forgot to mention that.
Also, for the watchOS devices that are able to be accessed, there's support for it. So that's pretty cool too.
So here's the interface. I'm going to take that off the screen. Here's the interface, and you can see the device information. As soon as what I did is I plugged my iPhone 7 into the computer, trusted with the computer, and then fired up the UFADE tool. You can see all of the device information on the left-hand side, and then it's asking me to choose an output directory for any of the logs I may pull or extractions I may pull. I'm just going to leave it default. It defaults to the folder where UFADE is.
And for those that are listening, great graphical user interface, really well done. On the left side, you have all the device information, model, hardware, product serials, disk use, Wi-Fi MAC, a lot of information on the left side, and then the right side, really nice, well-defined, beautiful interface.
So there's an option to save out that device information and installed apps, SIM, and companion devices. There's acquisition options. So there's a logical backup, a logical plus backup, a logical plus backup UFADE style. So it actually provides you with the zip file, the logical zip file, and a UFD file. So it makes it more seamless to bring into Celebrate if that's the tool you're using to parse the data. And then there's a file system backup for jailbroken devices.
And I like the UFADE style because those that are familiar with UFADE, if you open, it's just a text file, right? So you open the UFD file, you have all the information about the device, and at the bottom you have the hash. I think it's SHA-256, right?
It is. I'm gonna bring that up. So I
excellent.
ran a logical with the UFADE option earlier. So let me just bring that up for everybody. I already had it up, of course, and now I have found it. There we go. So this should look familiar to anybody who uses Celebrate. It is the information about the extraction, the information about the device, and then the tool that you use to acquire it. This one particular I acquired with UFADE, and more information about the type of extraction. And at the bottom, you have that SHA-256 hash of the zip file of the extracted data.
I love that because then you can import it into Celebrate tooling, and you can you verify the hash, or even if you don't, you can always make sure that when you're done with your work, you can validate to the hash. So useful.
All right, let's present that again. There we go. So those are the extraction options. There's also collect unified logs, which I'm not going to click on because it kicks it off, which I tested it earlier, and you get a log archive of the unified logs. And then developer options is where that new chat capture feature is that I'm going to show. But you can take screenshots of the device screen. There's a chat capture file system to text. I haven't tested that out yet, so hopefully somebody listening is going to go in and test that out. And then unmount developer disk image.
Maybe Kevin is saying that he looks forward to playing with the Windows version. So
all right, so cool. So you're going to test that out and tell me how it is. But the chat capture is what I thought was so cool for this week. So I'm just going to unlock my phone here, and the chat application that we're going to take a look at is I'm going to do Facebook Messenger, and it's on my test device. So just click chat capture. I'm going to name my app Messenger, and then the name of the chat. The messages are with Amy Farrah Fowler.
And for folks that are listening, the interface allows you to put those naming convention, those naming fields. It's right there for you to type, and it's all graphical. You can click and type whatever you need.
So then I'm gonna kick it off, and you see what I see on my screen of my device sitting here right at my desk. So this is my chat messages with Amy Farrah Fowler. And in a second, after it has done its screenshots of that screen, you just see it moved down to the next screen. Yep. And it's now capturing automatically screenshots of, it's capturing the chat for me. So you can see it moving. And each time it pages down in the right-hand side, you can see screenshot saved as, and it's saving those screenshots of the chat.
That's just fantastic.
I know, I love it.
Yeah.
While it's capturing all of the screenshots, I'll just tell you that I struggled all day to figure out how to do this because I don't know, I'm not great at all of the Python stuff. But I found some errors that were user errors on my part, and Christian, who created the tool, was kind enough to help me today realize what my errors were. And one was just my Python version, and I didn't even think of it. I'm like, all right, I have Python installed. I've got all of the dependencies installed. This should be working. Why isn't it working? And he's like, well, you're on a different version of Python. Try this. And as soon as I did, it started working.
Read the docs, please.
Yeah. So yeah, I know. I know.
We're all guilty of that. So
I'm
giving you a hard time, but we're all guilty of that.
We are. So this has now captured the chats, and I'm going to just pop back and show you what it looks like for output. So let me remove that from the screen and go find my output. present. There we go. So in the UFADE directory, there's a folder called screenshots. And then there's a folder called Messenger. And there's a folder called Amy Farrah Fowler, because that's what I named my chats. And you can see inside, there's a whole bunch of screenshots that I captured earlier too. But you can see inside the screenshots of the chats between Sheldon Cooper, is my test phone, and Amy Farrah Fowler's phone.
That's awesome.
And they save right in there with the naming convention that you gave them in the UFADE tool. And the entire chat is captured there within the screenshots folder.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I was really excited to show this one. So I was really hoping that none of my user errors would show on screen. And I think it went okay.
Hey, the demo gods were pleased with you today.
Yeah, definitely. There is one other option. I'm not gonna put it back up on the screen, but there's extract crash reports. There's a WhatsApp export from the device, and then there's sniff device traffic, all under the advanced options in the tool as well.
That's awesome. I mean, I have plenty of phones where actually lately, for example, the latest iOS 17s, there's no support for them, right? And you might have a phone that comes in with a passcode or from a victim or a cooperating witness, and you need to pull out a chat that cooperating witness wants to provide, right? Okay, they bring out the camera, which again, the video camera, that's an option. But if you can just go and say, okay, I'm gonna pair it, I'm gonna select the chat that I want, and then just hit go, and just chit chat as the thing is going, taking the screenshots.
Yeah,
I think that's way preferable.
So the support for iOS 17 is being worked on. iOS under 17 is currently supported.
Oh, and not all iOS 16s are supported, by the way.
Right.
So it depends on the type of iPhone that you have, right? Some are supported, some are not. So just because you're like, well, I have iOS 16 and my tool supports iOS 16, no, it doesn't. You have to check, right? And if it doesn't, because it could happen, then you have this other option to pull those chats when you have access to that device. Again, an example being cooperating witness, or just some on consent, so you can work on that. So it's pretty neat. Thanks to Christian Peters for this work.
Yeah, awesome.
Please continue. We appreciate it. The community appreciates it, and we will, and we use it. So thank you very much.
Magic Dave is asking, is this a free program? It is. It's on Christian's GitHub. I have the link up on the screen right now, but it'll also be in the show notes on our podcast page. Or you can just Google UFADE and it comes right up. And then Christian says iOS 17 is supported in the CLI version.
There we go.
Perfect.
That's awesome. No, and we'll keep highlighting as Christian keeps updating it. We'll keep highlighting those updates. We're really happy that's going on.
Oh, absolutely. I'm looking forward to whatever the next update's going to be.
Absolutely.
So, another thing I'm all in a WhatsApp group with a bunch of people, and Matt Beers, I don't know if anybody knows Matt Beers, but he has K9 ASCII. So if you've met K9 ASCII, you've met Matt. So you probably remember K9 ASCII though.
First of all, a group of folks in a WhatsApp, like your sign tells you who they are. What's your sign say? They're what?
Oh, the nerds. Yeah. So it's a nerd group. It's a nerd group in WhatsApp, but a group of really smart people in a nerd group. We were all chatting the other day about Windows logon passwords, about how to break them pretty much. And Matt was in there and he was chatting back and forth and showed us a contraption that he has made out of a Raspberry Pi. So I'll let you talk a little bit about it too here.
Oh, it's pretty neat. I mean, so us here in the show, we're really mobile centric. We get it, but we also get some computers every now and then. Okay, and it's pretty neat because he says, "Look, we got this Raspberry Pi Zero on all the older ones," and he found some repositories that has some information. It's pretty cool. What that does is it uses the NTLM way of communicating or authenticating between a Windows device and a Windows server, and it kind of turns it on its head. what you do is you set up the Raspberry Pi Zero, which again is I heard about it and I immediately bought one. We both bought one.
Everybody in the nerd chat bought one. I think they're sold out on Amazon.
It's our fault now. If you want one, you can get it. It's our fault. We bought them all. So it's as long as my finger at most, at most. And that little thing, has the cutest little heat sink you can put on it. Anyhow, I digress. So what that does is the software, it pretty much turns the Raspberry Pi into like a quote unquote Windows server.
Mhm.
And the Windows server communicates to the network. And there's ways of setting that up over to the device and says, hey, authenticate with me using this older protocol, right? And that older protocol, what it does is it sends that hash out, which we gladly grab. And with the hash from that account, from that password, then it's pretty obvious. We're just gonna try to brute force it, or have a dictionary on it, or I guess rainbow tables will still be applicable because it's an older network, older protocol. Don't quote me on it. And the point is, you use, pure brute forcing, and it shouldn't be too bad if it's obviously a simple password. And it's genius because we all know how those protocols work, and I never thought of saying maybe I should impersonate a server and have it give me the hashes out, because so some other techniques of getting those hashes require some sort of entering into the system, right? But if you can't, and then let's try to do it through a network, and I think it's genius, and it's a great little. He made a video showing us how it works.
He did.
And it's pretty sick.
So he also, because we all ordered our Raspberry Pis, but now what? Like, I'm not fluent in how to set the Raspberry Pi up to do that. So Matt actually put together a step-by-step on what to do and how to set it up. I have a link to his, it's not really an article. It's like an interactive step-by-step guide how to set the Raspberry Pi up to be able to perform these attacks on the passcode. And I'll put that in the show notes, but he did that last night, I think.
Yeah.
So that we could share with everybody.
Oh yeah, and for folks looking at it, it's a super long URL, but I think for the show notes, we'll try to make a little tiny URL for it, so it's easier.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Because it's humongously long, the link, but don't worry. by the time we have the show notes later on tonight, it'll be a simple link that will take you there. Go ahead.
So quick, did everybody get all those numbers that are up on the screen? Sorry.
4, 7, C, A, B, C, D, A, E, OPG. Yeah, you know me. It's pretty wild. But we will put Kevin's saying it's pretty ingenious. It is super ingenious. Yeah. It's one of those things like, why didn't I think of that before, right?
Right. I can't wait to test it out, but I definitely would have been struggling on how to even get started with setting it up. Because it's just not something I've ever done before. And to have the step-by-step guide is just awesome. He also, he let us know before we bought our Raspberry Pi, to get the Raspberry Pi Zero W, it won't work with the Raspberry Pi Zero 2. So just a public service announcement there.
oh no, yeah. So get the other model, but it's pretty neat. And there's obviously limitations if you're not securing. Let's say you log in not with a regular password, but you're using like a PIN or whatever. Well, that's not going to work. That protocol is not going to be able to give you a hash for that.
Right.
So there's some limitations on it, but it's always a good try. And again, going back to what Brett said, right? I was unconsciously incompetent because I was incompetent. I don't know how to use it, and I didn't even know it existed, right?
Yeah, same.
Yeah, but now we know, and Raspberry Pis, don't feel intimidated. The storage is usually a little SD card, so if you get the image for it, you're good to go. And I use Raspberry Pis, the regular ones, for all sorts of little things, for a calendar and for different things. So I really, hope folks start looking into that as solutions for some of our forensic problems.
Yeah. Neat. One more thing on Matt too. So he does courses or speeches, talks about password cracking. So if anybody ever sees his name on the itinerary of a conference or whatever training they're at, really sign up for that. Yep. A bunch of my coworkers went to one of his password cracking classes at the ICAC conference in Atlanta and said it was really good. So make sure to catch his talks on the password cracking.
Yeah, Matt Beers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it because he sometimes he goes by Matt Cervezas, which I as a Puerto Rican, I really got a kick out of.
Yeah, that's good.
I see, hey, mat cervezas. I just love it. I'm gonna put it in the chat. Some folks are asking. Matt Beers was really, really, really cool dude.
Okay. So, next topic: exploratory versus explanatory.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's so. You know what? One of those thoughts when you're like in the shower or sitting down in the throne and you're like thinking about things about life. You know. So I had one of those the other day. Do you have the
Yep.
meme about it? Yeah. So I put a meme just to highlight the talk. So it's a picture of like a galaxy or a black hole. It says me, born too early to explore space, right? And then a picture of the Earth, born too late to explore Earth. And then a picture of a tablet, a computer, a cell phone. And it says born just in time to explore data. True, it's not as the same level, I guess, as space and Earth, but there's a lot of things that are important about exploring data, and that made me think about exploration and explanations, right? Exploratory versus explanatory, and we had to be really careful. Again, going back to Matt to Brett's points. We explore, and we explore data when we have output from data viewers, when we have output from tool viewers. And the problem sometimes is that we think that is explanatory. We think that if I have a tool report, I'm explaining something. You're not explaining anything, right? You're exploring the data. And a good example that I have from a great book called Visualization of Data, I think that's the title. I'll put it in the notes because I don't have the book in front of me right now. Give an example of how, for example, you want to get pearls, right? And pearls happen to be found in oysters, okay? Does every oyster have a pearl? Of course not. No, of course not, right? Some do, some don't. And actually, the minority have pearls. So you might have to go through 100 oysters to get the 1 or 2 pearls, right? So the question is, so it's saying, well, you know what? For the sake of completion, make sure I have everything. I'm going to show you all the 100 pearls. I mean, all the 100 oysters, right? Are you explaining anything? No, you're exploring. You explore the oysters. But what I care about is not how many oysters you explored. I care about the pearls, right? And you need to tell me a story about those pearls and what's important about that, the value. And you can talk about the effort of getting there, what your procedure was, but the actual oysters are not the explanation. That's the exploration. And that's something that I was thinking about because, again, like I said before, we have to have our due diligence and make sure we explore, make sure we use the viewers, make sure we use the tools to get the context of what's happening, because if you don't have the context, you will not be able to explore. Something that Brett is saying, and I think I said it also in my post, when you show everything, you show nothing. And that's 100%. Absolutely correct. Yeah. We have this 300 pages of who cares, right? Was it there? Sure, it was there, but the point is not telling me, yeah, there's 100 oysters. I don't care about the oysters. Tell me about the pearls and pearls. Pearls. Oh my goodness, I'm killing it.
The pearls are lost in that.
Yeah, exactly. No, and it is. So I said in the post, the narrative reports, it what turns the exploratory into explanatory, because you actually build a story. You answer questions, right, that provide to the listener, to the consumer, actionable information, right? Then you're explaining. And our job as examiners, our main job is the explaining, but that is, comes after a process of exploration, on getting immersed in the data, on trying to understand what it means within the context of our investigation, of our work, whatever it is. Then we can explain. And we take it even further. I didn't mention that in the post, but explanatory in your narrative also goes into not only how you write it, also how you verbalize it, right? How do you make those thoughts, come across and put them from your head in somebody else's head, that you can actually visualize the story that you're trying to build. And it's not your story, right? It's a story by and for the data. It's what the data actually tells us. Okay. So I just, again, one of those shower thoughts.
That's the most important thing when it comes to reporting. Everybody always hears me talk about reporting, and the most important thing is to make sure you're getting that point across. And this meme and the explanatory and exploratory kind of sums it up perfectly. And Brett's comment sums it up perfectly. If you're doing a report of absolutely everything, you are not showing anything and explaining anything. And even if there is something good in there, whoever the report is for, whoever the stakeholder is, they're going to miss that. Like you said, they're going to miss the pearls.
And ask yourself, have I explored enough to find all the pearls that might be there, right?
Right.
And some folks say, look, I'm in a hurry. I want to close this case. I found the one thing done. Okay. What about the 20 bodies in the freezer? You want to open the freezer? Can you do that? Because I know there's some illegal parking in the front, but there's some information here about these possible murders. Of course, I'm making a made up scenario, right? We're in the hurry. We 20 cases closed. Look, there might be more information about more important pressing matters that you are willingly overlooking because your exploration, you're cutting it short, okay? Or because you don't want to really spend the time to put it all together to properly explain, right? That explanatory phase. And I want to add that to my thought process. Is my exploration complete? And it's my explanatory phase being properly informed of my exploration. And I want to add that to my future spiels as I teach. Hopefully that helps people out how they think about these things.
Yeah, one case closed correctly, where there's context and where it's actually explained and where it's solvable, is better than 20 cases closed any day.
Oh, you know what? You need to write that down because I wanna use that. Hey, Josh says some pearls you might not want to find, but you still need to find and show them, and that's just that due diligence. We need to make the point in our work, and if especially you're a supervisor or a sergeant or a lieutenant in charge of a unit, due diligence. That's a concept that either we just verbally say it but not really live it, or we just don't even think about it. And what is due diligence? You need to find them. We expect you to find it. The victim expects you to find it. Society expects you to find these things. So do your best effort with all your tool and your knowledge to get to the bottom of things. And if you're rushing, you're not getting there.
Or this could happen. Brett says, it's okay if you miss something important because your opposing expert will find it for you.
Ouch.
That couldn't be more true. I don't know. Do you have a lot of defense experts where you are, Alex? Like, do a lot of your cases have defense experts? I mean, you're federal. I'm state. I'm just curious.
Yeah. I mean, some do. I wouldn't want to characterize what the numbers are because in all honesty, a lot of our cases plea. So there might be an expert, but I don't hear from the expert, right? Because maybe
right.
Am I assuming here? Maybe they're just confirming my analysis, and then we're good, right? But no,
so
I've seen plenty.
We don't have a lot. Like I've seen one in my cases since I started 9.5 years. So I've had one, and I think it's really important to point out that that even if you've never encountered an opposing expert for one of your cases, they're there. Be prepared for it every time, even if you don't know one is assigned to your case. Know they're there. Know that they're actually becoming more prevalent, and they will find that thing that you missed.
Yep. Oh yeah, and or if they don't find something that you missed, your explanatory is not informed enough by the context, by the exploration, and they will take something you say and misconstrue it in some ways that you didn't think of, but in people that are not informed, right? Because the juries are not examiners, the judges are not technical folks. They will believe it, right? Because we didn't do the proper work that we needed to do, and you might say, well, this is what happened. And the other side, and again, this goes obviously a little bit biased, quote unquote, in the sense of I'm in law enforcement, so this is my context, right? Again, we're not criticizing defense attorneys or their experts. They're super important. I love having them there. They're needed, and it's a good thing, right? But using that context, we can use civil in the civil arena, which is a little bit more, less problems there. So you have the two opposing parties trying to make a point, right? Equally, both sides civilly. Let's use that example better. And you make a point on one side, and guess what? The other side will take that, and if you don't do the proper job, they will come up with another scenario that might fit those set of facts, wrongly or not, right? And then what? So there's a lot of responsibility. Our due diligence is so important.
Definitely. Let me get that. So, previous episodes, we have had questions, I guess, questions online and then questions in the chat on the episodes about trainings that you can attend if you're a beginner or if you're trying to get into digital forensics, or really even if you just want to brush up on the fundamentals. And I think Geraldine actually mentioned these trainings by Catherine Headley of at SANS in one of the chats in a previous episode. But on the SANS website, under their webinars webcasts, there is a series of, I guess, mini trainings, webinars put out by Catherine Headley. And the title is The Secret Life of Devices, a series of workshops on digital forensics fundamentals. So I think there's six parts to it. It's designed for beginners, and it's meant to understand data storage, interpret timestamps, learn how to extract critical evidence, navigate forensic images, convert between data formats. But it's geared toward all law enforcement, IT, or just people who are curious about digital forensics. So some of the parts are like conversions of binary, hexadecimal, and ASCII, files with signature and metadata, carving, converting timestamps, evidence with mounted images, and then a beginner's guide to encoding and decoding on base 64. I've gone through trainings with all of those different types of things. I think this is great for a beginner, but I also think it's going to be great for me when I go watch every single part of it and brush up on the skills that maybe have gotten a little rusty because I learned these things 8-9 years ago, right?
No, and it reminds me of martial arts, right? So you go and you start with the basics, right? And you build your knowledge as you go through all the belts, and then you get to a black belt, right? And the funny thing is that when you get to a black belt, you realize that a black belt is nothing more than having a complete grasp of the fundamentals, right? You think it's going to be something really, it's actually having those fundamentals. And in our field, it's kind of the same thing. You're like, well, when will I use hex and ASCII conversions? You know when? When you reach that high level. It's kind of funny, right? We teach that at the beginning, but you get to really, really use it when you're a high level practitioner. And to me, that's mind blowing, because it's like, when I get to the high level practitioner, I'm actually just going back to the beginning and really putting into use that knowledge, right? When you're looking at data sets that are not parsed or that are in different encodings, what do? You go back to those fundamentals. So this is important. You might think, well, I mean, the tool does these for me. Let me tell you, as you get to harder problems as an experienced examiner, the fundamentals is what gets you through it. And this is one good way of doing it. SANS has excellent instructors. Catherine is a tremendous instructor, and this is at the cost of free.
Just create an account on their website.
SANS quality teaching for free. Sign me up every day.
I feel like sometimes too, like newer examiners, maybe, they get pushed into the mix of things. Everybody's busy. They get their vendor tool trainings and maybe miss some of this too. So I think this is a great resource for anybody who needs to go back.
No, I absolutely agree. Advanced skills are simply the basics mastered. That's a good way of summarizing what you said by Brett. So I appreciate that. I totally agree.
Definitely. All right. So next one's kind of a public service announcement. I think I already said that once today, but this has been out, I think, for a few weeks now, or maybe even a couple months. But BitLocker on by default on Windows 11. So let me just share this. So Microsoft began pushing BitLocker with Windows 11, and the specific update was 23H2. It was on for default with new installations. But with 24H2, that setting expands to reinstallations on any system that has run 24H2 or later. So BitLocker is now showing up on by default. I didn't know that until one of my coworkers, Kevin, who's in the chat tonight, he pointed it out, and he was actually taking a look at it on his own machine. And he actually provided me with a screenshot. Let me show you what he saw in his computer. All right. So he has Windows 11 on his, and when he did the update, he had the BitLocker waiting for activation. So it's already there and ready. It's waiting for the user to activate it.
Yeah, no, it has a little icon there for the lock and the alert icon. It says turn on BitLocker, and you just need to hit it. And both for the operating system drive, and then you can use BitLocker also on fixed data drives. And so it's the options are right there. And I mean, obviously that's good for my user security perspective. Absolutely, it's a little bit of a challenge for us as the collectors of evidence. But as always, there's we need to just think about how can we lawfully obtain those and different techniques and methods to access that. So.
Yeah, and he noticed this when the update came through, and I think it's important to make sure we get that information out there for anybody who may have missed that it's now on by default. Because how did we used to seize computers? Pull the plug, package it up, submit it to the lab. Don't do that anymore.
No.
I think it's been a while since we've known we shouldn't be doing that, right? But this just kind of further solidifies that thought.
Yeah, and usually the latest thought process was, well, just in case there's some encryption, extra encryption there, we want to capture that memory, don't turn it off, or capture the memory and don't turn it off. Yeah, sure. But now with this, it's another reason why we need to keep that thing alive if it's already on. Because I think Brett just had another great Brett.
Yeah, I'm laughing.
Yeah, Brett is just hitting it like out of the park, like too many things, too many words, too many times in a row. It's great. I love it.
He's on fire tonight.
Yeah, okay, can you read it for us? What is he saying?
So if you pull the plug on running Windows 11 machines and image a dead box, you can reduce your backlog.
Yeah. Yeah, if I'm your sergeant, you're gonna be reducing your usefulness to the unit as well pretty quick.
Yeah, that's great. So Kevin, who was my coworker that actually told me about the BitLocker, he says there's also no recovery key generated. So if that computer is turned off or locked, you're out of luck with the password. So for his computer in particular.
Yeah, I want to look into that in regards to how's that is then the password tied to the user account password? I mean, honestly, I haven't tried out, so I wanna also look into that.
Yeah,
Or
definitely.
It's a separate password, or it's just the machine boots and then asks for the user password, and then the decryption happens. I honestly, I'm more of a mobile guy.
Oh, me too. But
Yeah.
we should be up to date with our computer skills.
we have to. We can't.
I know.
We gotta be consciously competent. So
Exactly.
So we're gonna be doing some experiments on that.
Yeah. All right. So we are at what's new with the leaps.
Yes. So again, the community always stepping up with new stuff. Do you have screenshots? You didn't get screenshots for this one?
I do.
You do?
I do.
Okay.
I have some.
How about you
for
show the screenshots and we discuss it? Yeah.
We're gonna do Android notifications first.
Yeah, let's do that one.
Let me share.
And yeah, a lot of artifacts coming in. Mm-hmm.
All right, there we go. So the Android notifications. I actually checked my Samsung phone when this article came out because I'm like, oh my God, I've never even seen that. But on my Samsung test phone, the Android notifications are turned off by default. And the file containing the notifications, if it happens to be on and you find it in one of your examinations, is a protobuf file. And Evangelos, and I don't recall his last name, Evangelos recently put support in the leaps for these Android notifications in a leap.
Oh yeah, and it's fantastic. I want to see Evangelos Dragonis. I think that's his last name. Yep. And he's been doing a lot of research, cutting edge research on all things mobile. And we'll talk about him again in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Is that so? Since you had the Samsung, was that like an overall notification, or was it for an app? Because I'm assuming that you will get notifications. You don't have to do nothing to get them, right?
So the history that you still get your notifications, but the device will log the history. And there's that history file is the protobuf file that Evangelos talks about. On my Samsung test phone, that was turned off by default. I didn't find exactly the same setting on my Pixel, but I did find a notification setting on my Pixel and it was turned on and I didn't turn it on. So I'm not sure if there's a difference between the two devices, but the history will actually be stored there in that protobuf file if the user has turned it on. I've now turned it on my test phone, and I'm going to use it for a little bit and then see what it looks like in the leaps. I'm assuming it's going to look a lot like what the screenshot looks right here.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, and that's what you actually hit it where I asked, because I'm a Pixel user, so that's why I'm like those little differences between those implementation between the Samsungs and the pure Google ones.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember either having to set it on, right, or something like that, right? So I would think that something similar in Pixels are going to be on by default, but that's part of the research, and that's why we're here, so folks can go out also and do their own testing on it. The example that we have on the screen, I like it because it's a notification from Thought Crime. Which what application is that?
It's Signal.
Signal, right? So Signal, we know it's encrypted, and you notice there the text of that message is, the pass or the password is and a value, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's now in clear text in the notification. So
Right.
how good is that?
Right? Pretty awesome.
Yeah. Of course, people can also set the notifications to not show stuff. Well, we know that.
Right.
But the fact is that most folks accept notifications because they want to be able to have a preview of what it is on the screen before they decide to go in and let the other person know that they read the message, right?
Right.
Do you saw the message? No, I didn't see the message. No, I haven't. Of course you did. You saw the notification, liar. So pretty useful capability. iOS has something similar. I think is it SegB files? I think I don't.
Yeah, they're in the SegB. Yes.
Yeah, okay, SegB.
Yep.
Yeah. Actually, Geraldine and myself were the first one to do some of that work. But yeah, it's pretty neat. All right, so Kevin, let's see. So there's some information here. Kevin Pagano is saying still turned off by default on Pixel, but I do remember turning it on my personal phone. Okay, so that's the answer. So,
okay,
yeah,
so I must have turned it on and just forgot.
Yeah. I mean,
which is totally possible.
I'm gonna check mine.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah. And then
so the other what's new with the leaps is ChatGPT parsers.
Oh, yeah.
So the ChatGPT mobile app, there's parsers in iLeap, ALeap, and RLeap that Evangelos actually created as well. And with those new parsers, I don't have a screenshot for that, but I'm going to put up on the screen.
And
there's an article.
Before you go, I want to mention it. So some of this research also Kostas Labrindunakis and Panagiotis Nakouris. So they're Greek. So hopefully I made honor in their pronunciation of their names.
Yeah.
So I want to mention also their names because they were also instrumental in that research. Oh, and Kevin says don't quote me, so I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to throw him out there, right? Okay.
Perfect.
Sorry about that.
So there's an article about the ChatGPT mobile application and how the data is stored, and then new support in the leaps. Let's see what else I have. That's what I had for the leaps for this week, unless you have anything to add.
No, the chat. I just want to say that ChatGPT, like it's so crazy in use right now, and so we're used to looking at, okay, I want to look at the search history, right? What was the person searching for, and trying to get information on whatever it was, right? How to, murder somebody without getting caught by the police, right? And look at that search, right? But what happens when they're moving, because they are being moved to ChatGPT now, and people mistakenly, and from my perspective, my opinion, they're using ChatGPT as a search engine, and that's what they do. And they will ask the questions they used to ask at a search engine. They move to ChatGPT. Are we aware? And not only ChatGPT, are we aware of other, LLMs that might be living within these devices, either the Meta one or some other ones, where folks are asking questions that might go to intent, might go to the key matter of the case, right? We have to do those. And again, I thank Evangelos and his team for doing that. That article is peer review. It's in a peer review magazine. I'm really honored that they decided to use the Leaps as a platform to apply that research. I think I might be wrong, but I think our platform is the only one that actually grabs that data right now.
Yeah.
No other tool really does it. So I guess a good point of healthy pride and love of community. So again, I appreciate him and his team for doing that.
Yeah, awesome addition. So I use ChatGPT daily, so
There we go.
Yeah, you'll find a lot of data on my phone if you get it. There's a good conversation going on in the comments about the BitLocker too. So Kevin, my coworker, saying the physical acquisition performed live with FTK Imager showed the system, and Arsenal's actually reaching out to him in the chats, and they're gonna talk about the BitLocker status on his computer.
No, there we go. There we go. See, we see
We'll do further research.
It's a meeting point of the
really
latest basic technology right here in the podcast.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so he hadn't enabled the BitLocker on his device when the update came through. It enabled it, and he still hasn't fully set it up. So I'm curious to see what he and Arsenal work out in research, and maybe we can talk about that again on a future episode.
Absolutely. I hit that button here and turn my lights off.
You've got enough lights.
Ah, that is true. That is true.
So we are at everybody's favorite part of the show, the meme of the week.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we have to go back. No meme of the week yet.
Oh, what happened?
Celebrate. I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
There's a new Celebrate update. So with Insights Physical Analyzer, there's a new beta version. 10.3 is out. And it's updated with improvements to the media review, and they revamped their entire support matrix. If you are not a member of the design partner group with Celebrate, you can join that and become a beta user. You just have to sign up on their website, and then you provide your Celebrate license number to them, and they validate that you have your Celebrate license, and you can become a beta tester for that. So you can get the newest version before it's even released. I downloaded it today, haven't had a chance to mess around with it yet, but we were provided a few screenshots of some of the updates. So I'm going to show the updates to the support portal or the supported app list, sorry. If everybody remembers, the supported app list for Physical Analyzer was an Excel spreadsheet, and it wasn't super intuitive and not great to really look through. But now we have this new supported app list with the capability of filtering and searching to see what's supported in the newest versions. I just thought this was a really good update to that.
Yeah, and let me quickly describe for the folks that are listening. You have the platform column, so it tells you this Android, iOS. If the app is native, obviously comes with the OS or what type of app, what name of the app it is, the version numbers, and then on models, it has a little series of little icons, which is pretty neat because instead of looking at a spreadsheet that's 50 columns long, you can look at those icons and pretty much quickly, okay, I have telephonic data for this app, I have geolocation data for this app, some Wi-Fi data for, you know what I mean? Like you can really easily figure out what types of data are being parsed by the tool for that particular app just by looking at the icons. Of course, if you don't know what an icon is, I think you can either hover it or go to the legend and then figure out what that icon means. And we know with enough usage, you can have, not even with usage, by looking at it, you can figure out that's an email, right?
Yeah.
An email icon. So there might be email data there. So it's pretty awesome.
I'm just going to put another one up. So there's actually a search being performed in this one, and the search was just WI, and you can see it filters. And we now have SwiftKey, Twitter, Wicker, anything that hits with the WI for the search feature. And then I have another little screenshot here.
By the way, as you're changing screens, I love how our background is a big eye, like the insights, the insights eye. So it's gonna
was that planned?
It's all coincidence, and we have the insights eye in the back there.
Yeah, and then so for support, there's the normal icon means the artifact should be included. Partial is some artifacts of this type will be included, but not necessarily all. The protected icon means access to this artifact requires keychain or key store access. So it's really a good legend. If you think you're missing data, come look at the legend. This may be why. Maybe you didn't get the type of extraction that can pull a keychain or key store access. And if that's the case, that could be the reason why you're missing specific artifacts that you think should be there.
Oh, you make the excellent point as always. That will really inform what the next steps are if you're not getting what you're expecting, and maybe why. Maybe what's the case, and even if you cannot get to it, then you can tell your stakeholder, look, the reason we weren't able to get X, Y, and Z is because these reasons, right? And then we could discuss other possible solutions to get around or over what the problem is. I think it's a great update to make the information more digestible. The Excel spreadsheet, you were so kind in your description. The Excel spreadsheet was not it.
Oh my God, no way.
This is way better. So and again,
Yeah.
we might criticize you, but we also give you some props when
Yeah.
when you do a good thing, and Celebrate has done a great thing by
Yeah.
doing those changes. Do we have more screenshots, or that's pretty much it?
I have some screenshots. It's a lot of reading on these other screenshots, which is why I didn't throw them up, but we can throw them up there. So while I pull this up, the my favorite part of the new release on 10.3 is I got an email today, and Celebrate resolved one of my support tickets in 10.3. So I can't wait to go see if it's resolved. And I'm sure it is. They wouldn't tell me it was if it wasn't, but I can't wait to go see it resolved.
I'm putting some faith in that.
Yeah, me too. So this is actually really cool too. I'm glad you told me to bring these up. Model definitions. So there's definitions of what some of the artifacts mean, right? So like activities, application usage, but do you always have the best description of what the artifacts mean? And now you do. It's each column has a little description of what type of data is there.
And that definition is so key, because we're not going to go into details in examples, but a lot of problems happen since there's no definition, the person assumes something and makes the incorrect interpretation of the data based on a incorrect interpretation of what a column means. The column says search and timestamp. What does that mean? Well, let's go to data definition for that artifact so we can make the proper understanding, right? That legend, that definition will inform you to make the proper interpretations, because we're looking at this as an abstraction, right? You got the data on the device, goes through the tool, and the tool is a report that tells you these are the pearls, right? And we look at it through their kind of viewpoint, the tool viewpoint, which means the tool maker, and I give props to Celebrate, is now telling you, this is our definition. This abstraction is defined in these certain ways. So then you can make the proper interpretation. And sometimes, I'll be straight, sometimes that definition might not be enough. And it's not criticizing the tool. It's the fact that we as examiners, we have to then go to the original, right, to that source data, and make sure everything is working correctly, make sure the tool didn't miss something, or make sure that those mappings are correct. But having this actually aids you and accelerates that process. So tool vendors, I encourage them to continue to do this. I would hope that somebody, or maybe in the future with some more bandwidth, I will be able to do that with the leaps. And it's really hard.
Yeah.
This is hard work, especially if your budget for your tool is $0, like mine.
Yeah, that's true.
But companies that do this for a living definitely make available those data definitions for your artifacts, for your reports. Is super important if you want to actually make proper interpretations using your tool. Beautiful.
All right. So Josh is over in the comments. I'm just going to throw this up. Hover or legend, and then he says field glossary too. What fields mean in certain models.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. How important those are. Super important.
Now we are to everybody's favorite time, the meme of the week. Let me pull that up here.
Meme of the week.
For anybody listening, there's lights and confetti all around Alex right now.
Meme
and balloons. Oh, great.
So
I'll let you explain. Yeah.
Yeah, you have this guy, he has like a coat, right? And he's just shaking the coat off, and he has a chest full of medals and ribbons and recognitions, right? And he shakes it off, and then he pulls it down, Picard style. I don't know, yeah, I know you don't know who he is, but
no, I don't.
Picard, the captain of the Enterprise, kind of pulling his shirt down, and it says LinkedIn be like CSSP, CCNA, CEH, CSAS, GSEC, CASP, OSCP, right? System, GCFA. Like, we, especially in LinkedIn, it's tongue in cheek, right? In LinkedIn, us, and I'm gonna include myself, I'm a big LinkedIn user. We put a lot of really letters on behind our name, right? It's like my name is Alexis, and then 3 pages of
Yeah.
letters. And so the point of this of my post was just having kind of have a discussion and think about, are certifications important? And my answer was yes, no, and it depends. So it not only depends, all three of them. And I made a little scenario for each, right? Well, are they useful? Well, yes. They can be useful in the context of you putting your foot in the door for an interview for a corporation, right? At least you can show you have some sort of baseline, assuming that company values that certification, right? So it has some use. Now, does that mean me having like a CSSP, which is kind of like a to have thing in the corporate world? Does that mean I'm an expert? I say no, and this is my take, and I'll die on that hill. That does not make you an expert. Having 20 certifications do not make you an expert. There are experts that have 0 certifications, right? And it just makes sense. The certifications measure a body of knowledge. Well, guess what? That body of knowledge was generated, created, and compiled before the certification, right? So are you going to tell me the people that did that are not experts? Well, they are, right? They are the ones, their knowledge is the one that makes a certification possible, right? What
Right.
came first, is the chicken or the egg, right? Well, the chicken, right? um, and unable I was able to lay eggs, right? So there has to be somebody, some expert, before certification even exists, to tell you this is important, this is valuable, right?
Right.
And then I say it depends, right? And it depends, because again, do you need it? Again, it depends, right? And some folks, like if you are, if work pays for it, for example, well, take them. I mean,
Oh, definitely.
yeah, the worst thing that can happen is what? You learn something that maybe you didn't know, right?
Right.
Or you have some more letters to kind of put in your metal chest, right? That's something you care about. Some people do, some people don't. But if you're paying for it yourself, well, then my take is you need to make your research, right? Because some of these certifications will be $6,000 for a class. That's a week long, and then whatever, $1,000. I'm making the numbers up, but $1,000, although they're not that far off, $1,000 for the actual test. And some of these tests are going to be just filling the bubbles. Some are going to be on the computer. Some are going to be some practical examples or practical exercises, or a combination of both. So just think about those things. If you're new in the field, you can get a lot of expertise by doing things, having a portfolio, and then be judicious in how to use your money with certifications. At the end of the day, what you know is only valuable if you can show it. If you can actually
Right.
show that at least from my perspective. So that was kind of the topic of my thought process on the meme. What when you saw it, what came to mind?
So I think there are a lot of certifications that are unnecessary. um, your schooling, a lot of the fundamentals training, a lot of the non-vendor, non-tool specific trainings that don't give you the letters at the end of your name are just as important. I think whatever trainings and whatever trainings you do that actually get you to the next level, right? And that was kind of flashing too much, wasn't it? Whatever gets you to the next level, whatever gives you that expertise, whatever helps you in your casework, it doesn't necessarily have to be because you have 4 letters at the end of your name. There's some certifications that take a look at like things that you've already done. Like they'll take a look at schooling you have, they'll take a look at times you've testified or the number of cases that you've completed, and they'll say, okay, you're certified now. That's not a certification. That's taking everything I already have and now telling me I'm certified. I can explain that myself and charging me money for it, by the way. I don't know. I liked.
Look. The thing with that method, what I don't like, is that
Yeah.
okay, experience is valuable, but how do
Yeah.
we measure the experience, right? The
Right.
experience. I'll be straight with you. The experience that you have as a state examiner, the volume of work that you have, is my volume of work is way less. I'll be honest with you. That's just how it is, right? So
Mhm.
we cannot say that your level of expertise in certain things were the same. Well, we're not. Actually, you have
Right.
way more more expertise in a lot of things because the volume of work that you do, right? I have more expertise because I can spend my time more on some other different or harder problems contextually to what I do, for my
Right.
type of case that I receive, right? And
Yeah.
so I wouldn't try to certify it that way because it's not a real measure of knowledge, right? It's not apples to apples, so I don't like that, and it's quite hard. I'll also take into account that and again, this is my opinion. Again, is look, anything we say in the show or in our social media is not reflective of our employers.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, this is just our opinion as examiners, and nothing that we say, we do not speak for them at all, right? So that being said, some of these certification bodies, a yearly or every couple of years is gonna be $500.
Hmm.
Like, ouch.
Yeah.
The one that I keep is a CSSP, because first of all, it was kind of a lot of time investment for me to get it, and I think there's still some value in that foot in the door thing. Maybe when I retire, so I want to keep that. But a lot of certifications, I cannot afford the renewals. I'm sorry, I don't
Yeah.
have the money. Like, the job puts you through it, but then they don't give you the budget to renew it or renew the certification,
Right.
and then the actual stamp or medal goes away because I cannot afford it. It's If you have 12 of these or 20 of these and they're like $400 each every couple of years, how much
Right.
is that? I mean, who?
Well, and if my certification in a specific tool, any tool, I'm not picking on anybody, but my certification in a tool ends tomorrow. Do I forget everything about the tool? Do I not know how to use the tool anymore? I mean, I do. But I didn't pay my renewal fee, so I don't anymore. And that stuff can be brought up in court, right? So you used this tool. Are you certified in the use of that tool? And I think a lot of weight is put on, are you certified in that tool, where it should be, are you certified or are you trained in knowing what the artifacts that came from using that tool actually mean? That's way more important.
I know we have to stop the show, but that's like my soapbox. One of my pet peeves is the, the tool doesn't certify my work, right? For
Yeah.
overload the term.
Yeah.
I certify the tool. The tool doesn't tell me what's up. I tell the tool what's up, and I will override the tool because I'm the
Right.
examiner and I'm
Right.
above the tool, right?
Right.
I deal with the data at a level the tool will never be able to,
Mhm.
and that's something that I hope our prosecutors and even defense attorneys courts start to understand, that a tool certification, again, I'm not saying you shouldn't have it.
Oh no.
Like, you should have it. It's great to have.
Hmm.
But the examiner is not how many certifications you got. If a tool that there's notification for the leaps. Well, have you been certified in usage of the leaps? Well,
No.
first of all, there's none. But even if they were, who cares, right? Can
Right.
you speak to the truth of this data independent of the tool? Well, I can. I'm an expert. I can speak to the truth of it. I can talk about SQLite, a simple example about the SQLite, and talk about all that all day long without using the tool if need be. The tool is just a presentation of how to show something. That's it.
Right.
And the false equivalency is, well, if you're not certified, then whatever you say about it is not valid, and I think that's ridiculous. And when
Ridiculous.
we do that, let's say a prosecutor trying to discredit a defense attorney, for example, a defense expert, because they're not certifying some tool. I don't think we should do that. It's not about the particularities of the tool. It's about the particular aspects of the evidence, of the actual data. That's where we should focus on.
But that is an easy thing for them to go after, though, because there's a misconception that all of those are necessary to be able to work in the field.
I mean, and it becomes in certain spheres. It becomes I'm not gonna address the data. I'm just gonna discredit you and address you, because if I can shoot you down, then hopefully people don't put any value in what the evidence is, and and that goes both ways. It goes both ways, sadly, and we need to, I think, educate everybody and avoid that.
Yeah.
Let me share something here.
Brett's killing the comments. I hope that's the one one you're sharing.
Folks, if you're listening or watching later, come live and benefit. We got really good experts in the chat. Just throwing those pearls, again, to using that example, throwing the pearls out, right? What is Brett saying?
Yeah. So it might not be certified, but can be competent. Could be certified, but incompetent. 100%.
There's folks in the LinkedIn thread where I put the meme out of saying, one guy saying, look, I employed a couple of guys that had certification. They were like the worst.
Yeah.
And then this other guy didn't have the certs, but we have a good interview and he's been killing it from day one, right? And I guess it goes for management. Certifications are great in the context of, hey, this is something a person might want to look at, but that's it, right? You need to make sure you have a robust interview process where you're able to have discretion. if your interview process doesn't give you discretion to really go into depth into the analysis of who the candidate is and if you're going to hire them or not, that's a problem. And I
Yeah.
think that's another topic for another day.
Yeah. There we go. We'll put it on the list for next time.
No, yeah, the whole interview and hiring process for folks in this field, I have thoughts. But we'll leave it for another episode.
I may
because
let you soapbox on that one. I have thoughts too, but
well, you're a boss, so there's so much you can talk about.
yeah, I don't want to actually speak for the employer.
Yeah, but I'm not a boss. I don't hire anybody, so I can say whatever I want.
All right, good point.
Again, we don't speak for our employers. All right.
Yeah, no.
One last thing, and again, Kevin is absolutely correct, right? Sometimes certs are a checkbox on a resume, right? And just to get 90% of the time to get through the HR
Yeah.
wall or limitations, right? If you want your resume to be looked at, make sure you hit those whatever certs. And it's sad that's how the game is played, but that's how it is. Now the question is, we can decide not to play the game, and that has some consequences, or we had to play it, and also there's some consequences there. That's how it is. Oh my goodness, Josh is also killing it. Not all certificates are equal, right? Until we as a community come together and agree on a set of skills, the alphabet soups will continue. But that's tough, right? And maybe we need to bring Josh one day to the show. I think we should.
I think so.
We're
volunteering him right now.
Yeah, right. It's a fine line between, look, do I want the flexibility to do the job as an expert I need to do, or possibly do we want to have some sort of a rigid set of parameters being imposed by us, by an external entity that might not be adequate for us? And that's a tough one, right? Do we want the state, for example, to say, well, to be an examiner, you need to fill these things, right? And you might say, well, that's good. At least there's a baseline. But the problem with some of those check boxes or baselines is that then people just get to those, right? And they don't feel the need to go beyond those, right? Or we might be constrained into how the definition of our work should be. And there's no evolution on that. Again, that's another long topic for another episode. The whole should folks be like examiners, like doctors, right? Have like this collegiate certification body that everybody needs to have it before they be able to practice, be our practitioners. That's something we want for this field or not. That's a big topic of discussion, but we run out of time.
I'll write it down for next time.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, Heather, again,
we've come to the end.
Much. Oh, we have for this week. Thank you, everybody that have been in the chat. It was a great conversation. The folks that will listen later, also thank you for listening and being part of the community. Let us know in our LinkedIn or social media pages topics you want to hear from us, of your own opinions that you would love to share with the community. If you have any projects that you're developing and putting out for the community as well, and if you are just doing research, also let us know. We'll be good to share those with everybody else and build on it. So anything else for the good order, Heather?
That's it. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We're watching.
Yeah, exactly. All the above, right? Yeah. So we'll be seeing you all in the next episode. Keep track of our social media, and we'll see you then.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.